Howdy, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Hope y'all are doing okay today. So, this one is completely non-political. Just something that happened the other day that I wanted to kind of put up here as a you never know what's going to happen in the middle of your day kind of thing. So, to tell this story, I've actually got to go back 10, 11-ish years to get this story all set up. So, my dad was going to this little old country church at the time that this story gets started. And unfortunately, there's no easy way to say this. The pastor committed suicide late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, and we went to the funeral and everything. No one had any idea that he was struggling with mental health in that way, and it was a very tragic story because one of the things that I've noticed that pastors deal with a lot of times is they are called to a life of ministry and counseling and helping others, but a lot of times that doesn't mean that they can lean on a lot of people within the church. And I think that's kind of where this guy ended up. He was everyone else's shoulder to lean on, but he couldn't lean on a lot of people there due to being the pastor. And whether that's true or not, or whether that was something that was just in his mind, I don't know. But that was just kind of the way it was in this particular circumstance, at least. Anyway, him and Dad had kind of become friends in the few months that they had known each other before this happened. Well, fast forward several years to basically yesterday, and I get a text message from one of the members of that church that used to go there, and I no longer attend there either. But this guy messaged me. He's like, hey, I don't know if you remember this, but the pastor there at that time, his oldest son is actually trying to gather up any of his father's old sermons from back then, just as kind of a keepsake, because, you know, he was a young kid then and now he's a young man, you know, kind of a keepsake to have in family possession. I'm like, well, I don't know if they were digital. I don't know if they were, you know, stored on a thumb drive, a hard drive, a flash drive, or burned a CD, because that was, you know, in 2010, 2012, somewhere in that time frame. And I said, you know, I don't know where they'd be, but I know a couple people that worked with the camera and worked with the computer, so they might know. So I sent out a couple messages, made a couple phone calls yesterday about this, and I ended up talking to a guy I've known for 10 years at least. Solid dude, think the world of him. I call him and, you know, get talking about what all was asked of me, and he's like, man, I don't know. And just when we're about to get off the phone, he goes, you know, man, how y'all doing? I said, well, you know, doing okay, just working, getting ready for Christmas, trying to get all the last minute shopping done, which my wife and I always put off to the last minute because of who we are as people. And he said, you know, I always think about you this time of the year because it's right around this time that your dad passed away. And I go, well, I appreciate that. You know, it definitely put a damper on Christmas the first few years for sure. And, we're just kind of yapping. He said, so I got to tell you a funny story real quick. So I got to stop right here to tell another story. So when Dad got sick with cancer, it was something where when we found out, it was metastasized, full-blown stage 4, inoperable colon cancer, nothing that really could be done. Chemo and radiation wasn't an option because he was a heart patient, and basically they said, look, if the cancer doesn't kill you, this will. So palliative care was kind of the best medicine could do, so we just could keep him comfortable and help him say goodbyes. So he had, I want to say 3 months from the time he found out to the time he died, right around there. So when he started getting real bad, we had a lot of people they had a lot of people coming over to my mom and dad's house. And I made the joke that you almost could have put a revolving door on the house just due to the sheer amount of traffic in and out of there, whether it was his old friends of the family, a lot of business associates that were in the area came by. Now, he was a national level sales rep, but any of his contacts that could make the trip did. And there was just people in and out of that house all the time. Well, this friend of the family that was at that church at that point in time comes by, and he's talking to him, and he said, I asked kind of a stupid question. I said, well, how you doing? He said, well, I feel like I'm shitting briars. Apologize for the language in advance, but it's one, and it was funny because this guy I'm on the phone with says that, and I start laughing, and then he starts laughing. I said, dude, you said that, and I literally heard it in my dad's voice, the way he would say such a thing. And that sounds exactly like something he would say, and he actually said something similar that does not need repeating. To me at one point about the way he started feeling when he got sick and going downhill rapidly. And he said, the thing that was so awesome about that is, your dad's staring down death and still had as good a sense of humor as he could have about his situation. Yeah, that's pretty much him in a nutshell. So I don't really know why I'm posting this. I've had this thought that if there's a lot of people that podcast or upload things on YouTube or whatever, and they are going to be theoretically forever, and that's just going to be a treasure trove for that person's kids and grandkids. And so I wanted to put that story up. Just, I don't know why, but something that I might look back on and laugh at 10 years from now, and I've forgot about this story, or something my kids can even laugh at when I'm dead and gone. So anyway, just a funny story about my dad when he was on his deathbed dealing with stage 4 terminal cancer. So take care, folks.